Orange Box 6-1, Removing and Reinserting Dentures. If a resident cannot remove her dentures, the NA must do it if trained and allowed to do so. The resident should be sitting upright before beginning. The NA should first don gloves. The lower denture should be removed first. The lower denture is easier to remove because it floats on the gum line of the lower jaw. The NA should grasp the lower denture with a gauze square for a good grip and remove it. She should place it in a denture cup filled with solution or moderate cool water. The upper denture is sealed by suction. The NA should firmly grasp the upper denture with a gauze square and give a slight downward pull to break the suction. She should turn it at an angle to take it out of the mouth. When inserting dentures, the NA should ask the resident to sit upright, then she should don gloves. If needed, she should apply denture cream or adhesive to the dentures. When the resident's mouth is open, the upper denture should be placed into the mouth by turning it at an angle. The NA should straighten it and press it onto the upper gum line firmly and evenly. She should insert the lower denture onto the gum line of the lower jaw and press firmly. Learning Objective 7. Explain guidelines for assisting with toileting. Residents who are unable to get out of bed to use the toilet may be given a standard bedpan, a fracture pan, or a urinal. A fracture pan is a bedpan that is flatter than the regular bedpan. It is used for residents who cannot assist with raising their hips onto a regular bedpan. Women will usually use a bedpan for urination and bowel movements. Men will generally use a urinal for urination and a bedpan for bowel movements. Figure 6-38, caption. On the left is a standard pan, and a fracture pan is on the right. Figure 6-39, caption, a urinal. Photo courtesy of Nova Medical Products, www.novamedicalproducts.com. Elimination equipment is usually kept in the bathroom between uses. Residents who share bathrooms may need to have urinals and bedpans labeled. This equipment must never be placed on overbed tables or on top of side tables. Urine and feces are considered infectious wastes. NAs must always wear gloves when handling bedpans, urinals, or basins that contain wastes, including dirty bathwater. NAs should be careful not to spill or splash wastes, and wastes should be discarded in the toilet. Immediately after use, containers used for elimination should be placed in the proper area for cleaning, or they should be cleaned and stored according to facility policy. Procedure: assisting a resident with the use of a bedpan. Equipment needed: bedpan, bedpan cover, disposable bed protector, bath blanket, toilet paper, disposable wipes, 2 towels, 2 pairs of gloves, supplies for perineal care. 1. Identify yourself by name. Identify the resident by name. Resident has right to know identity of his or her caregiver. Addressing resident by name shows respect and establishes correct identification. 2. Wash your hands. Provides for infection prevention. 3. Explain procedure to resident. Speak clearly, slowly, and directly. Maintain face-to-face contact whenever possible. Promotes understanding and independence. 4. Provide for residents' privacy with curtain, screen, or door. Maintains residents' right to privacy and dignity. 5. Adjust bed to a safe level, usually waist high. Before placing bedpan, lower the head of the bed. Lock bed wheels. When bed is flat, resident can be moved without working against gravity. 6. Put on gloves. Prevents contact with body fluids. 7. Cover the resident with the bath blanket. Ask him to hold it while you pull down the top covers underneath. Do not expose more of the resident than you need to. Keep the resident covered from the chest down except when placing or removing the bedpan. Keeping him covered, ask the resident to remove his undergarments or help him do so. Maintains resident's right to privacy and dignity. 8. Ask the resident to raise his hips by pushing with his feet and hands at the count of 3. If he needs help, place your arm under the small of his back and tell him to push with his heels and hands on your signal as you raise his hips. Place the bed protector under the resident's buttocks and hips. Slide the bedpan in the correct position under his hips. A standard bedpan should be positioned with the wider end aligned with the resident's buttocks. A fracture pan should be positioned with the handle toward the foot of the bed. Prevents linen from being soiled. Figure 6-40, caption. On the count of 3, slide the bedpan under the buttocks after placing the bed protector. The wider end of the bedpan should be aligned with the buttocks. If the resident cannot assist in getting on the bedpan, raise the far side rail if used. Help the resident to turn toward the raised rail. Place the protective pad on the area where the resident will lie on his back. Place the bedpan firmly against the resident's buttocks. Holding the bedpan securely, gently roll the resident back onto the bedpan. Keep the bedpan centered underneath. Figure 6-41, caption. Placing the bedpan firmly against the resident's buttocks, gently roll him back onto the bedpan. 9. Remove and discard gloves. Wash your hands. Provides for infection prevention. 10. Raise the head of the bed. Prop the resident into a semi-sitting position using pillows. Leave side rails up if used. Return bed to its lowest position. Puts resident in comfortable position for voiding. 11. Make sure the bath blanket is still covering the resident. Place toilet paper and disposable wipes within the resident's reach. Ask the resident to clean his hands with a wipe when finished if he is able. 12. Place the call light within resident's reach. Ask the resident to signal when done. Leave the room and close the door. Ensures ability to communicate need for help. 13. When called by the resident, return and wash your hands. Put on clean gloves. 14. Raise bed to a safe level. Lower the head of the bed. Make sure the resident is still covered. Places resident in proper position to remove pan. Promotes dignity. 15. Remove the bedpan carefully and cover it with a bedpan cover or towel. Promotes infection prevention and odor control. Provides dignity for resident. 16. Give perineal care if help is needed. Wipe from front to back. Dry the perineal area. Help the resident put on an undergarment. Cover resident and remove the bath blanket. Wiping from front to back prevents spread of pathogens that may cause urinary tract infection. 17. Remove and discard the bed protector. Discard disposable supplies. Place the towel and bath blanket in a hamper or bag. 18. Return bed to lowest position. Leave side rails in ordered position. Remove privacy measures. Lowering the bed provides for resident safety. 19. Take the bedpan to the bathroom. Note color, odor, and consistency of contents. Empty contents carefully into the toilet unless a specimen is needed or urine is being measured for intake-output monitoring. If you notice anything unusual about the stool or urine, for example the presence of blood, do not discard it. Inform the nurse. Changes may be the first sign of a medical problem. 20. Turn the faucet on with a paper towel. Rinse the bedpan with cold water and empty it into the toilet. Flush the toilet. Place bedpan in proper area for cleaning or clean it according to policy. 21. Remove and discard gloves. Wash your hands. Provides for infection prevention. 22. Place call light within resident's reach. Allows resident to communicate with staff as necessary. 23. Report any changes in resident to the nurse. Provides nurse with information to assess resident. 24. Document procedure using facility guidelines. If you do not document the care, legally it did not happen. Procedure. Assisting a male resident with a urinal. Equipment needed. Urinal. Disposable bed protector. Disposable wipes. 2 pairs of gloves. 1. Identify yourself by name. Identify the resident by name. Resident has right to know identity of his caregiver. Addressing resident by name shows respect and establishes correct identification. 2. Wash your hands. Provides for infection prevention. 3. Explain procedure to resident. Speak clearly, slowly, and directly. Maintain face-to-face contact whenever possible. Promotes understanding and independence. 4. Provide for residents' privacy with curtain, screen, or door. Maintains residents' right to privacy and dignity. 5. Adjust bed to a safe level, usually waist high. Lock bed wheels. Prevents injury to you and to resident. 6. Put on gloves. Prevents you from coming into contact with body fluids. 7. Place the bed protector under the resident's buttocks and hips as an earlier procedure. Prevents linen from being soiled. 8. Hand the urinal to the resident. If the resident is not able to help himself, place urinal between his legs and position the penis inside the urinal. Replace covers. Promotes independence, dignity, and privacy. Figure 6-42, caption. Position the penis inside the urinal if the resident cannot do it himself. 9. Remove and discard gloves. Wash your hands. 10. Raise the head of the bed. Return bed to its lowest position. Place disposable wipes within resident's reach. Ask the resident to clean his hands with a hand wipe when finished if he is able. Lowering the bed provides for resident safety. 11. Place the call light within resident's reach. Ask the resident to signal when done. Leave the room and close the door. Ensures ability to communicate need for help. 12. When called by the resident, return and wash your hands. Put on clean gloves. 13. Discard disposable wipes. 14. Remove urinal or have resident hand it to you. Note color, odor, and qualities, for example cloudiness, of contents. Empty contents into the toilet unless specimen is needed or urine is being measured for intake-output monitoring. Changes may be the first sign of a medical problem. 15. Turn the faucet on with a paper towel. Rinse the urinal with cold water and empty it into the toilet. Flush the toilet. Place urinal in proper area for cleaning or clean it according to facility policy. 16. Remove and discard the bed protector. Remove and discard gloves. Wash your hands. 17. Leave bed in its lowest position. Remove privacy measures. Lowering the bed provides for resident safety. 18. Place call light within resident's reach. Allows resident to communicate with staff as necessary. 19. Report any changes in resident to the nurse. Provides nurse with information to assess resident. 20. Document procedure using facility guidelines. If you do not document the care, legally it did not happen. Some residents are able to get out of bed but may still need help walking to the bathroom and using the toilet. Others who are able to get out of bed but cannot walk to the bathroom may use a portable commode or bedside commode, BSC. A portable commode is a chair with a toilet seat and a removable container underneath. Figure 6-43, caption. The top photo shows a regular portable commode, and the bottom photo shows a bariatric portable commode, which can be used for people who are overweight or obese. Photo courtesy of Nova Medical Products, www.novamedicalproducts.com. Procedure: assisting a resident to use a portable commode or toilet. Equipment needed: portable commode with basin, toilet paper, disposable wipes, towel, 3 pairs of gloves, supplies for perineal care. 1. Identify yourself by name. Identify the resident by name. Resident has right to know identity of his or her caregiver. Addressing resident by name shows respect and establishes correct identification. 2. Wash your hands. Provides for infection prevention. 3. Explain procedure to resident. Speak clearly, slowly, and directly. Maintain face-to-face contact whenever possible. Promotes understanding and independence. 4. Provide for residents' privacy with curtain, screen, or door. Maintains residents' right to privacy and dignity. 5. Lock commode wheels. Adjust bed to lowest position. Lock bed wheels. Make sure resident is wearing non-skid shoes and that the laces are tied. Help resident out of bed and to the portable commode or bathroom. 6. Put on gloves. Prevents contact with body fluids. 7. If needed, help the resident remove clothing and sit comfortably on the toilet seat. Put toilet paper and disposable wipes within reach. Ask resident to clean his hands with a wipe when finished if he is able. 8. Remove and discard gloves. Wash your hands. 9. Provide privacy. Place the call light within resident's reach. Ask resident to signal when done. Leave the room and close the door. Ensures ability to communicate need for help. 10. When called by the resident, return and wash your hands. Put on clean gloves. Give perineal care if help is needed. Wipe from front to back. Dry the perineal area. Help the resident put on clothing. Wiping from front to back prevents spread of pathogens that may cause urinary tract infection. 11. Place the towel in a hamper or bag. Discard disposable supplies. 12. Remove and discard gloves. Wash your hands. 13. Help the resident back to bed. 14. Put on clean gloves. 15. If using a portable commode, remove the waste container. Note color, odor, and consistency of contents. Empty contents into the toilet unless a specimen is needed or the urine is being measured for intake-output monitoring. Changes may be the first sign of a medical problem. 16. Turn the faucet on with a paper towel. Rinse the container with cold water and empty it into the toilet. Flush the toilet. Place container in proper area for cleaning or clean it according to facility policy. 17. Remove and discard gloves. Wash your hands. Provides for infection prevention. 18. Make sure bed is in lowest position. Remove privacy measures. 19. Place call light within resident's reach. Allows resident to communicate with staff as necessary. 20. Report any changes in resident to the nurse. Provides nurse with information to assess resident. 21. Document procedure using facility guidelines. If you do not document the care, legally it did not happen. Learning Objective 8. Explain guidelines for safely positioning and moving residents. Residents who spend a lot of time in bed often need help getting into comfortable positions. They also need to change positions periodically to avoid muscle stiffness and skin breakdown. Too much pressure on one area for too long can cause a decrease in circulation. This can lead to pressure injuries and other problems like muscle contractures. Positioning means helping residents into positions that promote comfort and health. Bedbound residents should be repositioned at least every 2 hours. Residents in wheelchairs or chairs should be repositioned at least every hour. Each time there is a change, the NA should document the position and the time. The NA should also check the skin for signs of irritation each time a resident is repositioned. These are the 5 basic body positions. 1. Supine, or lying flat on the back. Figure 6-44, caption. A person in the supine position is lying flat on her back. 2. Lateral, or lying on either side. Figure 6-45, caption. A person in the lateral position is lying on his side. 3. Prone, or lying on the stomach. Figure 6-46, caption. A person in the prone position is lying on his stomach. 4. Fowler's, or semi-sitting position, 45 to 60 degrees. Figure 6-47, caption. A person in the Fowler's position is partially reclined. 5. Sims, or left side lying position. Figure 6-48, caption. A person lying in the Sims position is lying on his left side with one leg drawn up. Helping a resident move up in bed helps prevent skin irritation that can lead to pressure injuries. An NA needs at least one coworker to assist to perform this procedure safely. Procedure: moving a resident up in bed. Equipment needed: draw sheet or other device. Coworker. 1. Identify yourself by name. Identify the resident by name. Resident has right to know identity of his or her caregiver. Addressing resident by name shows respect and establishes correct identification. 2. Wash your hands. Provide for infection prevention. 3. Explain procedure to resident. Speak clearly, slowly, and directly. Maintain face-to-face contact whenever possible. Promotes understanding and independence. 4. Provide for residents' privacy with curtain, screen, or door. Maintains residents' right to privacy and dignity. 5. Adjust bed to a safe level, usually waist high. Lock bed wheels. Prevents injury to you and to resident. 6. Lower the head of the bed to make it flat. Move the pillow to the head of the bed. When bed is flat, resident can be moved without working against gravity. Pillow prevents injury should resident hit the head of the bed. 7. Stand on one side of the bed with your feet shoulder-width apart. Face the head of the bed. The foot that is closer to the head of the bed should be pointed toward the head of the bed. Your coworker should be standing on the other side of the bed. 8. Both of you should roll the draw sheet up to the resident's side and grasp the sheet. One hand should be at the resident's shoulders, the other about level with the resident's hips. Use proper body mechanics. 9. Let resident know you will be moving her on the count of 3. On 3, both of you shift your body weight to your front leg. Help move the resident. Communicating helps resident help you. 10. Place the pillow under the resident's head. Provides for resident's comfort. 11. Return bed to lowest position. Remove privacy measures. Lowering the bed provides for resident safety. 12. Place call light within resident's reach. Allows resident to communicate with staff as necessary. 13. Wash your hands. Provides for infection prevention. 14. Report any changes in resident to the nurse. Provides nurse with information to assess resident. 15. Document procedure using facility guidelines. If you do not document the care, legally it did not happen. Procedure: moving a resident to the side of the bed. Equipment needed: draw sheet or other device. 1. Identify yourself by name. Identify the resident by name. Resident has right to know identity of his or her caregiver. Addressing resident by name shows respect and establishes correct identification. 2. Wash your hands. Provides for infection prevention. 3. Explain procedure to resident. Speak clearly, slowly, and directly. Maintain face-to-face contact whenever possible. Promotes understanding and independence. 4. Provide for residents' privacy with curtain, screen, or door. Maintains residents' right to privacy and dignity. 5. Adjust the bed to a safe level, usually waist high. Lock bed wheels. Prevents injury to you and to resident. 6. Lower the head of the bed. When bed is flat, resident can be moved without working against gravity. 7. Stand on the side of the bed to which you are moving the resident. Stand with feet shoulder-width apart and bend your knees. 8. With a draw sheet. Roll the draw sheet up to the resident's side and grasp the sheet. One hand should be at the resident's shoulders, the other about level with the resident's hips. Apply one knee against the side of the bed and lean back with your body. On the count of 3, slowly pull the draw sheet and resident toward you. Without a draw sheet. Gently slide your hands under the resident's head and shoulders and move them toward you. Gently slide your hands under her midsection and move it toward you. Gently slide your hands under the hips and legs and move them toward you. Being gentle while sliding helps protect resident skin. Figure 6-49, caption. Gently move the resident's head and shoulders toward you. Figure 6-50. Caption. Gently move the hips and legs towards you. 9. Return bed to lowest position. Remove privacy measures. Lowering the bed provides for resident safety. 10. Place call light within resident's reach. Allows resident to communicate with staff as necessary. 11. Wash your hands. Provides for infection prevention. 12. Report any changes in resident to the nurse. Provides nurse with information to assess resident. 13. Document procedure using facility guidelines. If you do not document the care, legally it did not happen. Residents may be turned on their sides in preparation for sitting up or to change position and to take pressure off their backs. This helps prevent skin irritation and pressure injuries. Procedure. Positioning a resident on his side. 1. Identify yourself by name. Identify the resident by name. Resident has right to know identity of his or her caregiver. Addressing resident by name shows respect and establishes correct identification. 2. Wash your hands. Provides for infection prevention. 3. Explain procedure to resident. Speak clearly, slowly, and directly. Maintain face-to-face contact whenever possible. Promotes understanding and independence. 4. Provide for resident privacy with curtain, screen, or door. Maintains resident's right to privacy and dignity. 5. Adjust bed to a safe level, usually waist high. Lock bed wheels. Prevents injury to you and to resident. 6. Lower the head of the bed to make it flat. When bed is flat, resident can be moved without working against gravity. 7. Move the resident to the side of the bed near you, using previous procedure. Positions resident for turn. 8. Raise the far side rail, if used. Turning a resident away from you. A. Cross the resident's arms over his chest. Cross the near leg over the far leg. B. Stand with feet shoulder-width apart. Bend your knees. Reduces your risk of injury. Promotes proper body mechanics. C. Place one hand on the resident's shoulder. Place the other hand on the near hip. D. While supporting the body, gently roll the resident onto his side as one unit, toward the raised side rail. Turning a resident toward you. A. Cross the resident's far arm over his chest. Move the arm on the side the resident is being turned to out of the way. Cross the far leg over the near leg. B. Stand with feet shoulder-width apart. Bend your knees. Reduces your risk of injury. Promotes proper body mechanics. C. Place one hand on the resident's far shoulder. Place the other hand on the far hip. D. While supporting the body, gently roll the resident onto his side as one unit, toward you. Use your body to block the resident to prevent him from rolling out of bed. 9. Position the resident properly. Head supported by a pillow. Resident's face should not be obstructed by the pillow. Shoulder adjusted so the resident is not lying on his arm or hand. Top arm supported by pillow. Back supported by supportive device. Top knee flexed. Supportive device between legs with top knee flexed. Knee and ankle supported. Pillow under bottom foot so that toes and ankle are not touching the bed. 10. Return bed to lowest position. Leave side rails in ordered position. Remove privacy measures. Lowering the bed provides for resident safety. 11. Place call light within resident's reach. Allows resident to communicate with staff as necessary. 12. Wash your hands. Provides for infection prevention. 13. Report any changes in resident to the nurse. Provides nurse with information to assess resident. 14. Document procedure using facility guidelines. If you do not document the care, legally it did not happen. Some residents' spinal columns must be kept in alignment. To turn these residents in bed, they have to be log rolled. Log rolling means moving a resident as a unit without disturbing the alignment of the body. The head, back, and legs must be kept in a straight line. This is necessary in cases of neck or back problems, spinal cord injuries, or after back or hip surgeries. It is safer for two people to perform this procedure together. A draw sheet helps with moving. Procedure: log rolling a resident. Equipment needed: draw sheet or other device. Coworker. 1. Identify yourself by name. Identify the resident by name. Resident has right to know identity of his or her caregiver. Addressing resident by name shows respect and establishes correct identification. 2. Wash your hands. Provide for infection prevention. 3. Explain procedure to resident. Speak clearly, slowly, and directly. Maintain face-to-face contact whenever possible. Promotes understanding and independence. 4. Provide for residents' privacy with curtain, screen, or door. Maintains residents' right to privacy and dignity. 5. Adjust bed to a safe level, usually waist high. Lock bed wheels. Prevents injury to you and to resident. 6. Lower the head of the bed to make it flat. When bed is flat, resident can be moved without working against gravity. 7. Both of you stand on the same side of the bed. One person stands at the resident's head and shoulders. The other stands near the resident's midsection. 8. Place a pillow under the resident's head to support the neck during the move. 9. Place the resident's arms across his chest. Place a pillow between the knees. 10. Stand with feet shoulder width apart. Bend your knees. Reduces your risk of injury. Promotes good body mechanics. 11. Grasp the draw sheet on the far side. Figure 6-51. Caption. Both of you grasp the draw sheet on the far side. 12. On the count of 3, gently roll the resident toward you. Turn the resident as a unit. Use your bodies to block the resident to prevent him from rolling out of bed. Work together for your safety and the resident's. Figure 6-52. Caption. On the count of 3, both workers should roll the resident toward them, turning him as a unit. 13. Reposition resident comfortably. Maintains alignment. 14. Return bed to lowest position. Lowering the bed provides for resident safety. 15. Place call light within resident's reach. Allows resident to communicate with staff as necessary. 16. Wash your hands. Provides for infection prevention. 17. Report any changes in resident to the nurse. Provides nurse with information to assess resident. 18. Document procedure using facility guidelines. If you do not document the care, legally it did not happen. Before a resident who has been lying down stands up, he should dangle. To dangle means to sit up on the side of the bed with the legs hanging over the side. This helps residents regain balance. It allows blood pressure to stabilize. It helps prevent dizziness and lightheadedness that can cause fainting. Procedure: assisting a resident to sit up on the side of the bed, dangling. 1. Identify yourself by name. Identify the resident by name. Resident has right to know identity of his or her caregiver. Addressing resident by name shows respect and establishes correct identification. 2. Wash your hands. Provides for infection prevention. 3. Explain procedure to resident. Speak clearly, slowly, and directly. Maintain face-to-face contact whenever possible. Promotes understanding and independence. 4. Provide for residents' privacy with curtain, screen, or door. Maintains residents' right to privacy and dignity. 5. Adjust bed to lowest position. Lock bed wheels. Allows residents' feet to touch floor when sitting. Reduces chance of injury if resident falls. 6. Raise the head of the bed to a sitting position. Resident can move without working against gravity. 7. Stand with feet shoulder width apart. Bend your knees. Reduces your risk of injury. Promotes proper body mechanics. 8. Place one arm under the resident's shoulder blades. Place the other arm under the resident's thighs. Placing your arm under the resident's neck may cause injury. Figure 6-53. Caption. One arm should be under the resident's shoulder blades and the other arm should be under the thighs. 9. On the count of 3, slowly move the resident into sitting position with the legs dangling over the side of the bed. Communicating helps resident help you. Figure 6-54. Caption. The weight of the resident's legs hanging down from the bed helps the resident sit up. 10. Ask resident to sit up straight and hold onto the edge of the mattress with both hands. Help resident to put on non-skid shoes. Prevents sliding on floor and protects residents' feet from contamination. 11. Have resident dangle as long as ordered. The care plan may direct you to allow the resident to dangle for several minutes and then return him to lying down, or it may direct you to allow the resident to dangle in preparation for walking or a transfer. Follow the care plan. Do not leave the resident alone. If the resident is dizzy for more than a minute, have him lie down again and report to the nurse. Count his pulse and respiration rates and report to the nurse. You will learn how to measure vital signs in Chapter 7. Change of position may cause dizziness due to a drop in blood pressure. 12. Remove shoes. 13. Gently assist the resident back into bed. Place one arm around his shoulders. Place the other arm under his knees. Slowly swing the resident's legs onto the bed. 14. Leave bed in lowest position. Remove privacy measures. Lowering the bed provides for resident safety. 15. Place call light within resident's reach. Allows resident to communicate with staff as necessary. 16. Wash your hands. Provides for infection prevention. 17. Report any changes in resident to the nurse. Provides nurse with information to assess resident. 18. Document procedure using facility guidelines. If you do not document the care, legally it did not happen. Transferring a resident means that an NA is moving him from one place to another. Transfers can move residents from a bed to a chair or wheelchair, from a wheelchair to a shower or toilet, and so on. Safety is one of the most important things to consider during transfers. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, OSHA.gov, set specific ergonomic guidelines to help avoid injuries during transfers. Ergonomics is the science of designing equipment, areas, and work tasks to make them safer and to suit the worker's abilities. OSHA states that manual lifting and transferring of residents should be reduced and eliminated when possible. Manual lifting, transferring, and repositioning of residents may increase risks of injury. To reduce injuries, many facilities have adopted no lift, zero lift, or lift-free policies. These policies set strict guidelines for lifting and transferring of residents. Lift-free policies vary. Some facilities do not allow lifting at all and require that equipment always be used when lifting and moving residents. The more restrictions placed on lifting, the less chance there is of injury. NAs must follow facility policies on lifting and use equipment properly. They should ask for help and always get help when they need it. A transfer belt is a safety device used to transfer residents who are weak, unsteady, or uncoordinated. It is called a gait belt when it is used to help residents walk. The belt is made of canvas or other heavy material. It has a buckle and sometimes has handles. It fits around the resident's waist, outside the clothing. It should never be placed on bare skin. The belt gives the NA something firm to hold onto when helping with transfers. The NA should grasp the belt securely on both sides, with hands in an upward position. Transfer belts cannot be used if a resident has fragile bones, fractures, or has had certain kinds of surgery recently. A slide or transfer board may be used to help transfer residents who are unable to bear weight on their legs. Slide boards can be used for almost any transfer that involves moving from one sitting position to another. Slide boards should not be used against bare skin. Figure 6-55, caption. A slide board can help with bed-to-chair transfers. Before beginning the transfer, the NA should make sure that the resident's fingers are not under the board. Guidelines. Wheelchairs. Learn how each wheelchair works. Residents may use manual, require human power to move, or electric wheelchairs. Know how to apply and release the brake and how to work the armrests and footrests. Always lock a wheelchair before helping a resident into or out of it. After a transfer, unlock the wheelchair. Figure 6-56, caption. Always lock the wheelchair before a resident gets into or out of it. To unfold a standard wheelchair, tilt the chair slightly to raise the wheels on the opposite side. Press down on one or both seat rails until the chair opens and the seat is flat. To fold a standard wheelchair, lift up under the center edge of the seat. To remove an armrest, release the arm lock by the armrest and lift the arm from the center. To replace the armrest, simply reverse the procedure. To move a footrest out of the way, press or pull the release lever. Swing the footrest out toward the side of the wheelchair. To remove the footrest, lift it off when it is toward the side of the wheelchair. To replace a footrest, simply put it back in the side position. Then swing it back to the front position. It should lock into place. Figure 6-57, caption. To remove a footrest, swing the footrest toward the side of the wheelchair and lift it off. To lift or lower a footrest, support the leg or foot. Squeeze the lever and pull up or push down. To transfer to or from a wheelchair, the resident must use the side of the body that can bear weight to support and lift the side that cannot bear weight. Residents who can bear no weight with their legs may use leg braces or overhead trapezes to support themselves. Before any transfer, make sure the resident is wearing non-skid footwear that is securely fastened. This promotes resident safety and reduces the risk of falls. During wheelchair transfers, make sure the resident is safe and comfortable. Ask the resident how you can help. Some may only want you to bring the chair to the bedside. Others may want you to be more involved. Be sure the chair is as close as possible to the resident and is locked in place. Use a transfer belt if you are going to help with the transfer. Be sure the transfer is done slowly, allowing time for the resident to rest. Upon standing, check to see if the resident is dizzy. If he is, help him sit back down. Check vital signs as ordered and report to the nurse. Keep the resident's body in proper alignment while in a wheelchair or chair. Special cushions and pillows can be used for support. The hips should be well positioned back in the chair. When a resident is in a wheelchair or any chair, he or she should be repositioned at least every hour. The reasons for doing this are as follows. It promotes comfort. It reduces pressure. It increases circulation. It exercises the joints. It improves muscle tone. Orange box 6-2, falls. If a resident starts to fall during a transfer, the NA should do the following. Widen his stance. Bring the resident's body close to him to break the fall. Bend his knees and support the resident as he lowers the resident to the floor. If needed, the NA can drop to the floor with the resident to avoid injury to himself or the resident. The NA should not try to reverse or stop a fall. The NA or the resident can suffer worse injuries if he tries to stop rather than break a fall. If a resident has fallen, the NA should call for help. He should not try to get the resident up after the fall. Figure 6-58, caption. A nursing assistant should not try to reverse or stop a fall. Instead, he should bend his knees and support the resident as he lowers her to the floor. This procedure may need to be done with 2 workers, depending on the resident's abilities. The NA should follow the care plan. Procedure: transferring a resident from bed to wheelchair. Equipment needed: wheelchair, transfer belt, non-skid footwear, and robe or folded blanket. 1. Identify yourself by name. Identify the resident by name. Resident has right to know identity of his or her caregiver. Addressing resident by name shows respect and establishes correct identification. 2. Wash your hands. Provides for infection prevention. 3. Explain procedure to resident. Speak clearly, slowly, and directly. Maintain face-to-face contact whenever possible. Promotes understanding and independence. 4. Provide for residents' privacy with curtain, screen, or door. Check the area to be certain it is uncluttered and safe. Maintains residents' right to privacy and dignity. Keeping area free from clutter promotes safety. 5. Place the wheelchair at the head of the bed, facing the foot of the bed, or at the foot of the bed, facing the head of the bed. The arm of the wheelchair should be almost touching the bed. It should be placed on the resident's stronger or unaffected side. Unaffected side supports weight. 6. Remove both wheelchair footrests close to the bed. 7. Lock wheelchair wheels. Wheel locks prevent chair from moving. 8. Raise the head of the bed. Adjust bed to its lowest position. Lock bed wheels. Prevents injury to you and to resident. 9. Assist the resident into a sitting position. Make sure his feet are flat on the floor. Adjust the bed height if needed. Let residents sit for a few minutes to adjust to the changed position. Prevents injury and promotes stability. 10. Put non-skid footwear on the resident and fasten securely. Promotes resident safety. Reduces risk of falls. 11. Stand in front of and face the resident. Place your feet about shoulder width apart. Reduces your risk of injury. Promotes proper body mechanics. 12. Place the transfer belt around the resident's waist over his clothing, not on bare skin. Tighten the buckle until it is snug. Leave enough room to insert flat fingers, hand, comfortably under the belt. Check to make sure that skin or skin folds, for example breasts, are not caught under the belt. Grasp the belt securely on both sides, with hands in an upward position. 13. Provide instructions to allow the resident to help with the transfer. Instructions may include: when you start to stand, push with your hands against the bed. Once standing, if you're able, you can take small steps in the direction of the chair. Once standing, reach for the chair with your stronger hand. 14. With your legs, brace, support the resident's lower legs to prevent slipping. This can be done by placing one or both of your knees against the resident's knees, or you can stand toe-to-toe with the resident. Bend your knees. Keep your back straight. Figure 6-59, caption. Brace the resident's lower legs to prevent slipping by placing either 1 or 2 knees, shown, against the resident's knees. 15. Count to 3 to alert the resident. If possible, have the resident rock while counting to 3. On 3, with hands still grasping the transfer belt on both sides and moving upward, slowly help the resident to stand. Communicating helps resident help you. 16. Tell the resident to take small steps in the direction of the chair while turning his back toward it. If more help is needed, help the resident pivot, turn, to stand in front of the wheelchair with the back of the resident's legs against the wheelchair. Pivoting is safer than twisting. Figure 6-60, caption. Help him pivot to the front of the wheelchair. 17. Ask the resident to put hands on wheelchair armrests if he is able. When the chair is touching the back of the resident's legs, help him lower himself into the chair. 18. Reposition the resident so that his hips touch the back of the wheelchair seat. Using full seat of chair is safest. 19. Attach footrests. Place the resident's feet on the footrests. Check that the resident is in proper alignment. Gently remove the transfer belt. Place a robe or folded blanket over the resident's lap as appropriate. Protects feet and ankles. 20. Remove privacy measures. 21. Place call light within resident's reach. Allows resident to communicate with staff as necessary. 22. Wash your hands. Provides for infection prevention. 23. Report any changes in resident to the nurse. Provides nurse with information to assess resident. 24. Document procedure using facility guidelines. If you do not document the care, legally, it did not happen. Mechanical lifts. Facilities often have mechanical, also called hydraulic, power, or standing lifts available to transfer residents. This equipment helps prevent injury to residents and staff members. NAs may assist residents with many types of transfers using a mechanical lift. Using these lifts requires special training. NAs should not use equipment they have not been trained to use, as this could cause injury. There are many different types of mechanical lifts. NAs should always ask for help if there's anything they do not understand about lift equipment. Figure 6-61. Caption. There are different types of lifts for transferring completely dependent residents and residents who can bear some weight. Photos courtesy of Van Care Incorporated, 800-694-4525. Guidelines. Mechanical or hydraulic lifts. Be careful when moving a resident using a mechanical lift. Have another person help you when using these lifts. It is safer for at least 2 people to do these types of transfers. Keep the chair to which the resident is to be moved close to the bed so that the resident is only moved a short distance in the lift. Lock the wheels on the chair if it has wheels. Check that the valves on the lift are working before using it. Use the correct sling for the lift that is being used. Using an incorrect sling may result in serious injury or death. If you have questions about the sling, talk to the nurse. Check the sling and straps for any fraying or tears. Do not use a lift if there are tears or holes. Open the legs of the stand to the widest position before helping the resident into the lift. Once the resident is in the sling and the straps are connected, pump up the lift only to the point where the resident's body clears the bed or chair. Electric, battery-powered lifts have emergency releases. Be aware of where the release is located and how to operate this function. Talk to the nurse if you do not know how to do this. Procedure. Transferring a resident using a mechanical lift. Equipment needed. Wheelchair or chair. Coworker, mechanical or hydraulic lift. This is a basic procedure for transferring using a mechanical lift. Ask someone to help you before starting. 1. Identify yourself by name. Identify the resident by name. Resident has right to know identity of his or her caregiver. Addressing resident by name shows respect and establishes correct identification. 2. Wash your hands. Provides for infection prevention. 3. Explain procedure to resident. Speak clearly, slowly, and directly. Maintain face-to-face contact whenever possible. Promotes understanding and independence. 4. Provide for residents' privacy with curtain, screen, or door. Maintains residents' right to privacy and dignity. 5. Lock bed wheels. Wheel locks prevent bed from moving. 6. Position wheelchair next to bed. Lock brakes. Wheel locks prevent chair from moving. 7. Help the resident turn toward you, as described in previous procedure. Go to the far side of the bed. Position the sling under the resident, with the edge next to the resident's back. Fanfold if necessary. Make the bottom of the sling even with the resident's knees. Help the resident roll back to the middle of the bed. Spread out the fan-folded edge of the sling. 8. Roll the mechanical lift to bedside. Make sure the base is opened to its widest point. Push the base of the lift under the bed. 9. Place the overhead bar directly over the resident. 10. With the resident lying on his back, attach one set of straps to each side of the sling. Attach one set of straps to the overhead bar. Have coworker support the resident's head, shoulders, and knees while being lifted. The resident's arms should be folded across his chest. If the device has S-hooks, they should face away from the resident. Make sure all straps are connected properly and are smooth and straight. Figure 6-62. Caption. With the resident's arms folded across his chest, attach the straps to the sling. 11. Following manufacturer's instructions, raise the resident 2 inches above the bed. Pause a moment for the resident to gain balance. 12. Have coworker help support and guide the resident's body. You can then roll the lift so that the resident is positioned over the chair or wheelchair. Having another person help promotes safety during the transfer and lessens chance of injury. 13. Slowly lower the resident into the chair or wheelchair. Push down gently on the resident's knees to help him into a sitting rather than reclining position. 14. Undo the straps from the overhead bar to the sling. Remove the sling or leave in place. Follow facility policy. 15. Be sure the resident is seated comfortably and correctly in the chair or wheelchair. Remove privacy measures. 16. Place call light within resident's reach. Allows resident to communicate with staff as necessary. 17. Wash your hands. Provides for infection prevention. 18. Report any changes in resident to the nurse. Provides nurse with information to assess resident. 19. Document procedure using facility guidelines. If you do not document the care, legally it did not happen.